In this sequence we'll be tying the black quill buzzer. It's a great early season pattern, particularly tied on a heavyweight grub hook such as this. It's also part of a group of flies I've been featuring in Trout Fisherman magazine, concentrating on cheap and easy to find materials that can be used to tie a whole range of different flies. The first step is to run on the tying thread, which we do just behind the eye. In this case we're using a 140 denier thread. It might appear quite thick, but actually it lays flat, so it doesn't produce any excessive bulk. With the loose end caught in, we now carry the thread down the shank, counter twisting it a little if necessary, just to flatten it, and we take it a reasonable way around the bend just to give a curved profile to the finished fly. Next we take a peacock eye feather and remove one of the quills and carefully remove all the flue, all those little fibres from the quill, to leave the quill completely bare. We then trim the fine end of the quill to length and then offer it up to the hook and catch it in at the bend with a single turn of thread. Once it's in position, carry the thread up the shank in close turns to create a nice, smooth but still slim body. Now take hold of the quill and begin to wind it over the body. On smaller flies we'd be winding the quill very close together, but on patterns such as this buzzer we use the black thread underneath to actually accentuate the segmented effect that the quill creates. So we keep the turns as evenly spaced as possible. Not always easy, but we keep winding up over the body, bringing that loose end round each time, and keeping those gaps between the turns as even as possible. Bring the loose end up finally and then catch it in with a turn of tying thread and then snip off the excess. And then take a bottle of clear varnish, I actually use Sally Hansen's, then offer a little drop up onto the hook, coating the body evenly. It's better to use 2 or 3 thin coats rather than 1 thick coat. You can actually use UV resin as well, UV cured resin, but this is a nice, quick and simple way. Now, when you're tying this particular pattern, it's worth doing these bodies in batches. So we have to leave this to dry for a few minutes and then maybe apply a 2nd or 3rd coat. Okay, now that the body's cured nice and hard, we run the tying thread back on. Just trim off that loose end. Now for the wing cases, we're going to use strips of red holographic tinsel, medium width. So we remove a length from the spool and we catch a length in either side of the hook at the position of the thorax. Bring the other end over to the other side of the hook, catch that in too. Okay, the thorax itself is going to be peacock herl. So we take a couple of strands and catch them in by the tips, the back of where the thorax will be. So we then take these strands of peacock herl and carefully twist them to form a rope, and then begin to wind them up towards the eye to form the thorax. So continue winding the peacock herl, giving it a little twist as you go. Continue winding it forward towards the eye. Once you've reached it, just secure those 2 ends with the thread. Make a single turn of thread on the shank and then just snap off the 2 loose ends. Now bring the 2 strands of the holographic tinsel forward. Again, catch those in where you caught in the ends of the peacock hull. Draw them back. 1 turn of thread just behind the eye. Trim off those loose ends. Fill the small head with the tying thread, and then just 1, 2, 3, 3 turn whip finish. Trim off the thread, and there you have it, the black quill buzzer.